Now, for chapter 6, chapter 6 is maybe a little bit difficult. You have to memorize some terminology. You have to know the functions. Okay, now start with number 1. Let's see. At least there are 5 functions of bone. Okay, remember bones is a hard material. So the first function will be for what? Protecting and supporting the soft tissue. That's gonna be the first function. Protection. And support for soft tissue. Okay. Number 2, bones attached to the muscle for what? Movement. Attached to muscle for movement. Number 3, bone is really hard because it has mineral. What is the mineral that is actually stored in the bone? Calcium. Calcium storage. And I mention to you again, calcium is a really important substances in your body because this calcium will be used for most of your activity, your muscle movement, your brain working, due to this calcium. You need that calcium. Number 4. Bone also have a special space. It's called the red bone marrow, which is used for what? Blood cell production. All type of blood cell will be produced in the red bone marrow. Red blood cell, white blood cell, platelets, all of them will be produced in this red bone marrow. And the last one, bone also have a little bit energy storage in yellow bone marrow. Energy storage. Okay, it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult if you see or if you look at how bones look like. The anatomy will fit with this function. So anatomy fit with this function. Now, part of the long bone. If it is long bone, let's say this is humerus, is broken humerus. I mean not humerus. Femur. So it has how many parts? What you call the middle part over here? The longest part. Long bone. This one is diaphysis. Diaphysis, also called as a shaft of the bone. Now at the end, let's say this over here. What you call that? The end part of the bone? Epiphysis. Yeah, somebody coming to say epiphysis. Okay, let's see. Alexis. Okay, epiphysis. Epiphysis. And between the epiphysis and diaphysis, there is a place called metaphysis. This is metaphysis. Now this is also important that in the epiphysis, if your bone is still young, you are not really old yet, not 80 years old yet, the end of the epiphysis is still have cartilage. It's called the articular cartilage. So this part over here is called the articular cartilage. This is used for joint. And also in the epiphysis area, between epiphysis and metaphysis, you still also have cartilage. Cartilage when you're still young. For boy, it is until 25 years old. For the girl, until 21 years old. You still have that cartilage over here. What do you call this cartilage for growing? It's called epiphysial plate. Plate. That's the cartilage that's still growing. When you are over 25 years old for boy, or over 21 years old for the boy, this plate become line. It means no more cartilage. It's done. Okay, so you are not growing tall anymore. Okay, that's part of the long bone. Again, I put additional part over there. Make sure you also write it down. Take a note. Okay, in case it is asked in the exam. Okay, type of bone cell. You have to know this. If you don't know, you will be sad during the exam. There are 4 types of bone cell. The first one is the stem cell. It's called osteogenic cell. Osteogenic cell. This is a bone cell that keep dividing. And then from the osteogenic cell, it will produce the young, strong cell for building your bone. It's called the osteoblast. This is the one that builds your bone. Building the bone means is putting a lot of calcium in your bone, make it bone harder. Okay, that's building the bone. And then when this young man become older, it's become osteocyte. This is the retired bone. Osteocyte. There is another one. This is actually white blood cell that stay in the bone. Okay, this is the white blood cell. Okay, that's kind of destroying the bone because taking a lot of calcium from the bone. And his name is osteoclast. Cat. Cat, the destroyer. Bob, the builder. Okay. If you know this, the name and the function, you will be very happy in the exam. Okay, so make sure you get this. Name, function. Now, the composition of the bone. Okay, how much water in the bone? How many percent? 25. If you still remember, last time we talked about the osteocyte staying in the leg, right? Okay, so in the compact bone, if you see under, crossing, you're gonna see osteocyte, 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 osteocyte. And this osteocyte still in the leg, right? It's called the lacuna. That leg has water in it. Okay? Therefore, in the bone, you still have water, which is only 25%. What is the other one? What is the second matrix on the bone? That's make the bone very strong. Collagen fiber. So collagen fiber. Water. 25%, 25%. Got it? And then between them, there will be a lot of calcium. Calcium. In the normal bone, if you want to be healthy, at least 50%. The more the better, 50%. And your teeth has 70%. Your enamel have 90%, even harder. Okay? So that's based on the calcium concentration over there. Now, calcium gives hardness, right? And which one gives the strength? Collagen fiber. Compact bone consists of this. This is one. You're gonna have another one over here. And then you have another one over here. Now what you call this one unit of the compact bone?
The one of them?
Yeah, one of these.
Osteon?
Osteon. It's not lamella, remember? Lamella is in the osteon. Osteon consists of many lamella. Okay, many lamella, many lacuna, many canalicular. later, right? So this is osteum. That consists a lot of lamella. So this is, let's say, one. You would take this one over here. Okay, the cross section of the, let's say, long bone over there. Okay, it consists of osteum. For the spongy bone, it's not compact. Therefore, there is no osteons in it, but they have what we call what is the unit of the spongy bone? Trabeculae. Trabeculae. With this, on that trabeculae, there's a lot of trabeculae over here. On that trabeculae, there is a space called the red bone marrow, where the blood is produced. Okay, I mean blood cell, not the blood. The blood cell is produced. Type of bone formation. If it is directly from fiber connective tissue formation kind, then the ossification is called the intramembranous ossification, and the intramembranous will create the flat bone. Okay, so flat bone, all the flat bone is created through the intramembranous ossification. Okay, if it is start with the template, which is the cartilage template, the process is called endochondrial. So other type of bone will be created through this endochondrial ossification. What is that? Long bone, short bone. What is the other one? Irregular bone. Irregular bone. Next. Okay, growth plate. Again, we mentioned about growth plate over here, which is actually cartilage. The cartilage is kind of, we can say it's a young bone. It's going to be developed into bone. On that epiphyseal growth plate or plate, there are 4 zones. The one that closer to the epiphyseal over here, gonna be the cartilage, resting cartilage. So mostly young cartilage over here. And then this, I'm gonna make it bigger. So you know the process. Okay, I can just do one side. Let's say this is one side over here. Let's say bone like this, right? Then you have the epiphyseal plate over here. You with me? Okay. This one over here mostly consists of what we call the resting cartilage. Okay, so resting cartilage. Resting cartilage. You with me? And this resting cartilage then will produce another cartilage that keeps growing. Keep growing. This one is called the proliferating because it's keep proliferate. Proliferate means dividing. So this is proliferating or keep dividing cartilage. Okay. So what happens when you push this down? What happens? The bone will growing to the top, okay? Going longer. And then it will, after that, close to here. That cartilage is become ossified a little bit. Okay, it have calcium in it. It's calcified. Okay, calcified. The hypertrophic first, hypertrophic cartilage, and finally over here it will be calcified, which is going to be bone, right? Calcified cartilage. Okay, so it's become bone. Then this one is going to be going to the top. make you taller. On the other side gonna be also going to the downs. Okay, so make it this bone become longer. Okay, that's the what do you call epiphyseal plate over here. Epiphyseal plate. Okay, are you with me? This growing is controlled by hormones. Get it? This hormone is actually produced by your brain. Okay? In your anterior pituitary gland, okay, the front of your brain, not from this one, the encephalon, the middle and front of the middle. There is a hormone is called GH. Anybody know what is GH means? Growth hormone. Growth hormone. Produced by anterior pituitary. This is hormone. This is a gland in your brain. Right now you don't have to know where is it. We're gonna learn that later. Right? It's growth hormone. So growth hormone, if it is produced, then it will stimulate this growth. Okay. Now there are some people that actually have problem with this growth hormone. Maybe they have tumor on their brain. So let's say if it is kid, let's say produce too much growth hormone, it's called a hyper secretion. Secretion means production, hyper means too much. So kids that have hyper secretion of growth hormone, what happened with their bone? Very, very long. Okay, very, very long. What happened with him? He'll be growing as a giant. Correct? Therefore, it's called a giantism or gigantism. Okay, so maybe this kid, when he's growing, maybe reach 9 feet or something like that. That's abnormal. It is not normal. It is abnormal. Okay. Now, what happens if the kid produces too little of growth hormone? It's called the hyposecretion. What happened with that kid? What happened to the bone? It's not growing. What? The kids stay short. What do you call that? People that's short? Dwarf. What? It's called dwarf. Therefore, it's called the dwarfism. Dwarfism. Okay. So that's the control of growings by growth hormone. Are you with me? Some of you actually answer hypersecretion with the acromegaly. This is also abnormality, but it's only happen to adult. Remember, adult cannot be tall anymore because what? The line is closed, right? If the adult produce too much growth hormone, what happens? This bone becomes thicker, not taller. You get me? And the thicker bone is called the acromegaly. Sometimes you can see from on the cheek, on the hand, very, very big head, thick head. That's what we call the acromegaly. It's happening on the adult. If it is on the kid, it's called giant. Okay, so that's additional maybe information for you. Okay. Now, acromegaly, which is adding thicker bone over here, is by actually adding the osteon on it. I think I'll put a picture over there on your PowerPoint. Erase this one first. Okay, let's say this is the long bone. Okay, and then in the middle you have what we call the medullary cavity, right? Medullary cavity. Okay, now if you cut this, which is cross plane, and you're gonna have the cross section over here. Okay, And then you have the medullary activity over here, cavity in the middle, right? And then you have compact bone. This is going to be compact bone over here, right? Which consists of what? Consists of osteon. You hear me? Consists of osteon. There's a lot of osteon over here. But over here is trabeculae, which is spongy bone. Spongy bone. Okay? So when they growing thicker, this one is actually will produce, is become making new osteon. It will push that bone going that way. Are you with me? So by adding osteon, the bone become thicker. You with me? So people that, let's say, adult that produce too much growth hormone, their bones will be thicker because they cannot be growing tall anymore. Okay, so by adding osteons, that's number 11. Number 12 is gigantism and dwarfism. Bone undergoes remodeling constantly due to activity of which one construct the bone? Osteoblast. The one that destroy the bone is osteoclast. Again, if you know that name and the function, you will be happy in the exam. Okay, when the bone broken, it can be repaired because what? It is connective tissue. Connective tissue able to be repaired because they able to perform cell division, which is mitosis. There are 4 stages in repair of bone damage. The first one is hematoma, which is blood go there. It's going to be swelling. And then what is after that? Fibrocartilaginous formation, which is the cartilage will be formed over there. Remember, in order to, you just remember here, when it is formed, it is endochondrial, right? Endochondrial ossification. They start with cartilage. So the first thing that coming to the broken bone will be cartilage. Blood carry the cartilage. What next? Cartilage become bone, which is calcium adding into the cartilage. That one we call the bony callus. And then after it is really become bone, sometimes the shape is not that good, right? Therefore, the osteoclast will remodel this, make it original into the original shape, at least as close as to the original shape. So osteoclast will remodel. That's going to be the 4th stage. Okay, number 15, the calcium level in the blood. This is the one that have to be controlled, not in the bone. Again, this doesn't matter how much calcium in the bone that you have. The most important thing is control in the blood. It has to be between 9 to 11 milligram per 100 milliliter. So that's the calcium in the blood. If you don't have enough calcium in the blood, let's say this is blood vessel, where you have to go? You have to take it from the storage, right? So osteoclast will do the job. Boom, put it here. Are you with me? So make the calcium in the blood increase if you don't have enough calcium. So osteoclast over here. Who tell the osteoclast to do this? What hormone? Remember, your body control homeostasis is controlled by nervous system and hormonal system. This is controlled by the hormonal system, endocrine system. Which hormone that telling the osteoclast to remove calcium from the bone to the blood?
Is it estrogen?
No, come on. There are 2 hormones that control your calcium in the blood.
Parathyroid.
The PTH. That's the PTH. PTH. PTH is the one that increase calcium in the blood by first telling the osteoclast to destroy the bone. Second, the PTH will also go to the kidney. PTH also go to the kidney. That's the second action over here. This is the first action. What the PTH tell the kidney do? Make vitamin D. You me? Okay. And then third, this vitamin D will go to the intestine What does vitamin D do in intestine? Absorb the blood to the absorb the calcium from your diet and put it into the blood. You follow this? So all of this action, what is doing? Increase calcium in the blood because you need it at that time. In case you have less calcium, less than, for example, less than 7, for example, right? Then you will produce PTH. Are you with me? Now what happens if your calcium in the blood is too high, let's say 13, right? 13. So what happens? Then your thyroid hormone, thyroid gland will produce a hormone called calcitonin. Calcitonin, or sometimes called CT, calcitonin. Now what? This calcitonin only do one thing actually, only go to the bone. Telling who? Osteoblast. To do what? To take calcium from the blood. Store it. Store in the bone. Okay, so just remember, 2 hormones control the calcium in where? In the blood, not in the bone. You don't really know, you know. It's not about controlling in the bone. It's controlling in the blood. Therefore, sometimes they don't really care whether your bone is fragile or not, because you need to have calcium here. If you don't like milk, then your bone will be fragile. But you will not die. You will not die, right? But if you don't have enough calcium in the blood, you might die. Because your brain will not work, your heart will not work, your muscle will not work. Right? That's the very important function of calcium. Okay, now number 19, disorder. The first one is called the osteoporosis. This is due to the osteoclast activity. And I mentioned before, female that have menopause will have higher risk. Why? Because estrogen, now you go to the estrogen over here. Estrogen unable to control the osteoclast. You need estrogen also to control, kind of calm down the osteoclast a little bit. When you don't have it, osteoclast gonna be happy destroying your bone. It's called the osteoporosis. The second one is due to vitamin D deficiency. It's called the rickettsia or rickets. This one is actually easy. When you have a baby, put baby under the sun, because sun actually increase the vitamin D production from the kidney. Okay. And then the last one is osteomalacia. Usually this is old people that they have might enough calcium, but they're unable to put calcium in the bone. They have the abnormality. Okay? So that's osteomalacia. Okay, now for chapter 7 and 8, mostly memorization. Mostly memorization. And I believe many of you already know the majority of this bone. Okay, number 1 first. There are 5 types of bone: long, short, flat, irregular, sesamoid. Okay. Bone surface marking. This one over here look like this is called what? Process or projection. This is usually for making joint and also for attachment of muscle. Okay, mostly muscle attached to the projection. It's not in the middle here. It's not in the projection. This one over here, what you call that? This is depression. Again, usually this is for joint with the process. So process, depression, they usually match. Okay, and maybe there is a hole in the bone. What you call that hole? Foramen or opening. Okay. So that's the bone surface marking. Now, this one, the actual skeleton, how many? Let's get. How many total bone that we have? Skeletal system. How many bone? 206. Right? It's divided into axial and appendicular, right? How many in the axial? 80. How many appendicular? 126. Right? Axial divided into skull. How many in the skull? 22. Hey, this is the number. Make sure you know it because a lot in the question, in the exam. Skull consists of cranium and facial. How many in the cranium? 8. Facial? 22 minus 8, 14. Right? Okay. This is a simple math. Second group. There is one on your neck. What you call it? Hyoid. One. Next, C. Vertebrae. Vertebrae. How many vertebrae do you have? 26. For this one, make sure you know vertebrae name number 1. What is that? Atlas. Number 2, axis, and then the rest gonna be based on location. Plus the last one, sacrum and coccyx. D. Thorax or rib cage. How many bones? 25. 1 sternum, 24 ribs. One sternum, 24 ribs. Rib, another rib for rib is called costae. So costae means rib. If it is in the exam, costae means rib. And then the last one, in your ear, in the middle ear, is called the ear ossicle or auditory ossicle. How many total? 6. 3 and 3. Total should be 80. That one. That's the number. Now, appendicular skeleton. First group, pectoral girdle. How many? How many bones? 4, which is 2 clavicle to scapula. Second group, upper limb. How many bones? 60. Next group, hip girdle or pelvic girdle. How many bones? 2. 2 coccyx. The name of the bone is coccyx or hip bone. 2. And then the last one, lower limb. How many? 60. So total should be 126. No, that's the number first. Make sure you got that number. Study it over and over. Study with your classmate. Asking question. Okay. Now the name. I will not go one by one. You should be able to read that one. All the name of the bone. But make sure, especially for the lab exam, you know what is this, because in the lab exam, I will not give you the regular question like usual, but I'm gonna give you the paper, and then I just point what is the name of this bone, what is the name of this bone, what is the name of this bone. Later, that bone will be connected with another bone, which is joint. What is the name of the joint, for example? That's for the lab exam. Okay, for the lab exam, it's gonna be different later. Make sure you know the name of the bone, and then the joint name, the name of movement, and etc. That will be later. But just for information, make sure you know the name of the bone whenever I point it.
How much later? How much later? When are we going to be doing that?
Lab exam is going to be sometime in the end of November. But still long, because you're gonna learn this in the lab. You're gonna learn in the lab. This is just for information. Okay, for information. On the lab, you have to know the name of the bone, the location, the joint, the movement, and etc. But it's gonna be later. It is just for give you information. It is better, to start to know the name of the bone right now. For the exam also, maybe you have to know at least the name of the bone right now. Okay, so for this exam number 3. Okay, let's go number 9. Maybe we haven't talked about this. It's called the paranasal sinuses. Sinus. Okay, you have actually 3 pairs of sinuses. If you have infection, sinus infection, that's the one that filled with the bacteria. It's gonna be smell bad, believe me. Smell bad, okay? And you're gonna have headache. Right? That's parental sinus. Fontanelles is a soft spot in the baby's head. So when baby born, it's actually not hard. Their head is not hard. You can imagine that. There is a soft spot. Therefore, it's gonna be closed from the birth canal. Okay. Now the next one is the curve. Many of you have problem with the curve. Normally, in the adult, how many curves do we have on the vertebrae? 4. The first one is here. What do you call this curve? Cervical curve. What? It looks like this. Cervical curve. And the second one is my thorax over here. What do you call it? Thoracic curve. And the next one is my back, my lumbar curve. Right? And the next one is my sacral curve. How many? 4. Now, from these 4, which one or which are the primary curve? Thoracic and the sacral. Right? Because you only look like this when you born. Only one look like a curve like this, which is thoracic and the sacral. And then when we are growing, the cervical curve will be formed when you lift your head, and the lumbar curve will be formed when you sit down. Right? So that's what we call the secondary curve. So make sure you know. Some of you put lordosis, kyphosis. That's the name of disorder, not the name of the curve. That's the name of disorder, which is gonna be go to the last question. Okay, some disorder. Now A is slip disc, lateral bending, scoliosis, exaggerated of thoracic bending. Okay, the hunchback is kyphosis, exaggerated of lumbar, lordosis, start with the L, the same, lumbar lordosis. And then the last one is spina bifida. Appendicoskeleton, know all the name of the bone. Right now for the exam, I will not put the picture or I will not put the bone by itself. But again, for the lab exam, will be actual bone there. Okay? Well, not right now for the lab activity. What else? Now, for the carpal bone and tarsal bone, make sure you memorize that. That may be the 2 group of bone that is maybe difficult to memorize. Okay, carpals have 8 bones. Can you tell the first row? Scaphoid, lunate, trichoetrum, pisiform. The second row, trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, hamate. Tarsal, 7 bone. The top row is talus, calcaneus, and navicular. The second row is there are 3 cuneiform. First, second, third, or you can say medial, intermediate, lateral, the same name. And the last one is cuboid. So if you know that, you're happy. If not, you cry. Okay, do you have question for this? If you don't have question, you done. I hope you're ready for the exam on Tuesday, 9:30 in this place. Okay, good luck.